Hi, Eric Ferrangi here, Hate Quality Water. I'm joined with
Amanda of Abalone Coast Analytical.
So we do water quality. I do equipment, she does testing, and I want to kind of have a little conversation with her about silica.
Yeah.
This is a question that comes up not very often, but I try to bring this up as often as possible because some people have very high expectations of the water quality in their home. So when you go to the lab and you say, okay, I need to get this bacteria testing, this group's 1 testing, this group's 2 testing. These are all great groups of tests, but they don't have in them the test for silica. So my recommendation as the guy that ultimately installs a water system and then gets to work with you for the next 20 years on how's your water, how's your hair, how are the dishes look. I want to make sure that you have all the information that you need so that you can make a good choice on which water system to choose for your home. The reason that silica isn't on any of these tests is because it's not a freaking health standard.
Right.
It's not going to hurt you. It's sand.
It's sand.
The kids out in the yard, they eat silica. They just wipe it off their face, right? You don't call poison control. They're fine. But the problem is this stuff gets dissolved in the water and it deposits all over your home. So you're going to see this in the showers. Most people put in some sort of a water softener and assume, okay, my shower's going to look great. Put it in the kitchen. You assume, okay, I've got a softener, my water's going to look great. I'm not going to get deposits. The problem is a water softener doesn't remove silica. The only way to determine if you have silica or not is to simply test for it. So my recommendation is have your water tested, but make sure to add silica to that test. Everywhere on the Central Coast has some varying levels of silica that I've seen, and the higher levels that you have, the worse the issues are going to be. So if you have a house where you want to put in black faucets, black countertop, black sinks, any of these types of things that are going to highlight any sort of deposits, you're going to want to test for silica. So I have a lot of people that put in softeners and say, I still get all of this buildup around my faucet. What is this stuff? Is my softener not working? We come out, we test the hardness, and we say, oh, actually, your softener is working perfectly. The problem is you have things in your water that aren't going to be removed by a water softener. So if this is a concern for your home, your kitchen, your showers, let's get this conversation started early. Yeah. Have your water tested. Now these are all things that I can see and that you can see. There's one other issue with silica that most people don't associate with the water, and that is dry, brittle hair. So obviously I don't notice this problem because I don't have any hair, but
I do kind of have this problem.
Amanda might have this problem.
Might have this problem.
So the issue is silica is basically it's the main ingredient in glass, and it is dissolved in the water, which means it deposits on your hair. So if you have fine hair and you try to grow your hair out long, what you'll find is your hair just starts breaking. And the reason is because the deposits on your hair make your hair brittle. And then those deposits snap and break, and then goes with it your hair. So
that happens to me on a daily basis.
There it is. So if you know anybody that has hair that has challenges with their hair, and if you go into a salon and they use the words stripping your hair, I'm going to need to strip your hair, what that means is there is a deposit on your hair that's preventing them from being able to change the pigment coloring of your hair. There's a buildup on there. And that buildup, a lot of times, is just silica. So a lot of times we'll spend money on, getting our hairs done, and spend all this money on things that, is nice, and we want to have good results. But if we're starting out with bad water and washing our hair constantly in bad water, we're never going to get good results. So if you're testing your water for all these things, just throw silica in there. I think it's an extra $20 for that test, and then you'll know if you're going to have great hair days in your home or you're going to have bad hair days for as long as you live in this home. Now, my wife, as much as I want her to say, from the day that we moved in, she was going to have great hair days, I put in the water softener. We've had the same water softener in our previous home. We moved it to the new home and fired the thing up. The dishes look great. Faucets look okay. I asked my wife, how's the water? I expect she's going to say, oh, it's fantastic. You're the best water guy ever. I'm so glad I married you. And what does she say? My hair's never been this bad. Okay, here's me, the water guy. What do you mean your hair's never been this bad? And she tells me she's lived in 5 different houses, all with different water. She's lived with hard water, soft water. She's never lived in a home where her hair was this bad. So I started researching Why is her hair bad? Let's test the water. Let's test the water. So I get the full panel, all the paneling, and it doesn't tell you all the things you need to know until you start saying, oh, what's the silica levels? Well, then I tested the silica, and we have 30 parts per million. Now, is that a lot or a little? I don't know. To me, it's a little. For my wife, it's a lot. Mm-hmm. And so if you have hair that you want to keep nice, and you want to have showers that you've invested in really nice glass, I hate to say it, but this is a conversation we had yesterday with my wife. The glass block in our showers, there's probably 150 glass block that are all disgusting. It's not hard water, it's silica. So you've got now beautiful glass that's polished, and then you got opaque glass that's building up on it. The end result is it looks like crap. She's not happy. I get to tell her, guess what you get to do? You get to hand polish every single one of those by hand with some sort of like a jeweler's polish. And yeah, it might come off eventually, but we fixed the problem here. We put in a system that eliminates the silica, but the problem is the house had 10 years of silica buildup. Mm-hmm. And so who wants to clean that up? Well, I don't want to do it. She doesn't want to do it. I guess we could pay somebody to do it, but the point is, if we knew this ahead of time, we fixed this problem the day that we moved in, all this problem wouldn't persist.
I have a really good fun story about silica also. So I was helping one of your competitors mm-hmm. who does filtration systems, and they had put in an iron filing filtration system. And I'm a chemist, so I was puzzling through like what could be going on, because he said they had these little particulates coming through the filter and filling it up, and they hadn't been there before. But the water tested high in silica. So when silica is in solution, it's silica and oxygen, so it'll be some form of silicate. So and then it stays in the water, and it won't deposit until it's like enough hits a surface. But what was happening, because iron really loves to grab oxygen, what was happening was they were making sand. So they were precipitating out sand. And it was because of the type of filtration they put in. So knowing whether or not you have silica is a good thing to know, because then don't use an iron filing filtration system, use something else. And this would be the guy to tell you what you would do, since now he is the silica expert.
I'm the silica expert.
Yeah, he's the guy.
So I'll tell you one other thing about silica that bothers me, and it's not because of my hair. My hair is fine with the silica, but what really is a problem is all the mixing valves. So every one of these valves, the functionality of these valves, the showers, all the mixing valves, every faucet set in this whole house is destroyed. Now the point is, this house is 15 years old. There was a water softener installed from day one. No hard water has ever come through this house, yet every mixing valve in the house is bad. They're all bad. So if you add every faucet in your home, having to replace every faucet in your home at 15 years, and it's not because they look bad, they look great. The problem is they're busted on the inside. You cannot actuate them. So it's not just the cost of the faucet, it's the potential labor to replace them. So in each of our bathrooms where we have, the bathtubs, the faucets are shot. They leak, they're seized. One of them only, fills extra hot and a little cold, or maybe it's the other way around. Either way, it's all broken. And the only way to fix this is to break the tile out, to replace the faucets, and to retile it. So this isn't like a weekend job that you're gonna say, honey, go do that. Forget it. You gotta hire a contractor to come in and do this properly. So we're talking thousands of dollars to fix an issue because of something as simple as a little bit of silly sand in your water. So take it seriously. Look at the cost of replacing all of your faucets, your fixtures, the labor to do so. Look at, having a wife that's happy with beautiful hair, and daughters that come in and show you how great their hair looks and how fun it is, versus having kids where you're brushing their hair out and they're crying all the time. And it's like, this is life, but this is life with good water versus bad water. So it's a conversation I'm excited to have with you. Make sure that you have the water tested, and that's really the point here, is get your water tested for silica. If you have silica, then we can talk about what your options are, see what you want to do. But thanks for watching this video. Thanks for joining me, Amanda.
Yeah.
And get your water tested. for everything, including silica. And if you're on a private well, you should probably have your water tested, I would say once a year. So for bacteria, I think it's a good idea to have your water tested once a year. If you have issues like I have here, if you can see my backyard or not, but we're in the middle of farmland out here, and I've got nitrates that are 3 times the legal limit. So I like to have my water tested a couple of times a year just to see, is the problem getting better or worse? And as long as I've been here, it's always been kind of between 3 times the maximum level and 6 times the maximum level, which means it's just always poison. So if anybody comes to my house, prior to me fixing this problem, it was you can't drink the water from the tap. Now you've got a reverse osmosis and you can drink the water there, but the solution for our problem here is we did a whole house reverse osmosis, which eliminates the silica, the nitrates, the hardness, and best of all, without using salt. So we specialize in really sophisticated water treatment systems that are designed for your high-end home to protect your home and your family, and to ideally minimize the salt usage on your property, because at the end of the day, where's all that salt going? Right back into our groundwater. Right. So let's do our best to minimize the amount of salt that we're putting into our ground.
It's bad for your root zone, by the way.
It's bad for your root zone.
Bad for the root zone if you're growing things.
So let's keep our plants and our aquifers happy, and let's talk about water softener or water softener alternatives if that makes sense for you. But thanks for watching.
Thank you.
And have a great day.